I can hear your voice.
Alright guys, today we are in an E46 M3 in beautiful Amola red. We've got the manual transmission and we've got a very minty example. It seems like there's, I think more than lately, more of a movement towards, like, you know, the older BMWs, the M cars, and really just, you know, more of the classics, the ones that everyone's always liked. Anyways, we're out, we're driving the E46 M3, and this is really one of my first like full drives with this car in particular, but any E46 as well. And I just want to kind of give you guys impressions of like why people still like it, and you know, why they are valued at the way that they are. So if you guys couldn't hear already, we got some really good exhaust shots of this car. This car has amazing induction noise. Of course, inline six, tuned with an exhaust, catless headers. It's a couple of different things on here, but it's the catless headers, Rogue Engineering rear, and there's also a Super Sprint X pipe. So it's a couple of different brands, but I think you know, people get worried that this thing sounds too raspy when you put an exhaust on it, but really I think it's more than anything, you just have to be careful with what you put on it and not forgetting about, you know, resonators and things like that. To where it's enjoyable, it's a sports car loud, but it's not so loud where, you know, it's just obnoxious. And of course, with BMWs, the cabin, it's well built, it's solid. I mean, I don't hear any rattles in here when we're driving around, even when we get on it a little bit. It drives really nice. And speaking of the way that this car drives, I think is probably one of the biggest reasons why people still like it and why people favor these cars is they don't weigh a lot. You know, it has around 300 horsepower and you can just rag on it. So it's not obviously a car you buy to be the fastest one in the bunch, but you know, that's not the point. You buy it because it looks great and it drives amazingly. It's nice to be in here. We have a fresh steering wheel, and of course the owner is a very OEM plus. He has a very OEM plus type of style, which of course I know you guys can appreciate, and I certainly can appreciate, especially on a car like this, Amola red E46 M3 with a manual. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. So believe it or not, this car actually has 106,000 miles on it. So the good thing about that is, you know, maybe you don't feel as guilty driving it around as if it were like a really low mileage car. You feel maybe a little guilty. You know, with older BMWs, you know, we were talking a little bit earlier, previous owner said there's three big things with these cars: subframe, vanos, and rod bearings. I know he's scheduled to do rod bearings, he's done the vanos, and I think the subframe will be next. Those are really the three big sort of maintenance items that are expensive and involved for the E46 M3. So kind of a cool story, guys, you know, kind of proving that these cars have such a cult following. There's a reason why people pay what they pay for them, and when you see a good one, you know, it's gonna get snatched up pretty quickly. So the current owner of this thing, it's actually a two-owner now, but he bought it as a single owner car, around 100,000 miles, out in California, and pretty much sight unseen, flew out there, drove it to Oregon, and then had it shipped back to Ohio, where we are now. And it's kind of a crazy story. Like, you don't hear about people doing stuff like that if it's just sort of a quote-quote normal car, but it really just emphasizes how special these cars are when you find a good one. And I've got to say, this is a great example. you definitely go for it. You don't waste any time. I've got to say, driving this thing, you know, that's really why you buy this. It puts a smile on your face. It's comfortable, it's fun, it's quick enough. You guys probably also noticed the interior of this car. We can't forget the interior. This car originally did have black leather. He swapped it out for the M texture, which is super cool, really cool, era specific, and really fun. In general, this interior is really nice. The display is very standard. Obviously, you're not going to be using this for GPS, but who the heck cares? 6-speed manual. Everything is really where you'd want it. You know, these cars have the window switches in the middle, which is not very common, but for the era, I think, like my ZHP has the same thing. They're in the middle, obviously being an E46. So you have to get used to a couple of things, but generally it's not going to take you, you know, the clutch isn't weird, it's not super heavy, it's not super light. Like, it's a very normal driving car in a lot of those ways, so it's not going to be a lot to get adjusted to. The exhaust has that little pop. It feels like it gives you that little gnarly feeling. Yeah, the torque is definitely a little higher up, definitely above like 4 grand. You know, this car is one, you are ragging on it, like you're gonna have to grab it by the scruff of its neck, but it loves it. Like, it loves it. It doesn't struggle at all. I mean, the car just reacts so nicely, and it feels so confidence inspiring. You know, it is nice that it doesn't feel like it's gonna get away from you. You know, if you floor it, it's probably not gonna just kick the rear end out immediately, like a lot of newer, you know, turbo cars or whatever. But the fun of it is, it's balanced, it's light, naturally aspirated, 6-speed rear-wheel drive. I mean, shoot, man. And it looks awesome. I mean, this is, honestly, it's a little understated in a way, but you just, if you know, you know. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, it can get a little rowdy. I mean, it definitely has it in it. It's so exciting, like going, you know, the 0 to 60 or 0 to 40 even, just romping on it. It's really fun. So I'm probably gonna wrap up the video here, guys. Man, it's been a pleasure driving this thing and enjoying this thing and ragging on. Obviously, you know, I appreciate the owner for letting me take it out and romp on it a little bit. It really drives nice. And another benefit I'm thinking about is the prices of these things. I mean, may not be super cheap, but you're not going to lose your ass on it in depreciation like you would with a newer car. So that's always a plus. You know, buying the car, it'll generally hold the value, I would say, especially for the E46 M3 and the 6-speed. Take care of it, keep it OEM, and yeah, I mean, this thing is nice. It wants to have fun. I mean, you gotta ring it. I feel like we're at 5,000 RPM, but it goes. I mean, we're already at 80 from 60, so it's quick enough. It's definitely quick enough. So anyways, I love this thing. I'd like to get a little more seat time with it at some point, but man, it's been fun. A lot of my friends have told me it's definitely a car that you have to drive. It's definitely one of those pinnacle cars, and there's a lot of reason for it, and now I can fully understand it. So guys, leave a comment below if you want more E46 M3 content. Instagram is below for my buddy's channel. He has a full like Instagram of all the updates on this car, great pictures of this car. He does a lot of preventative maintenance as well, so you'll see lots of pictures and sort of changes and improvements, so that's always cool. So I know a lot of the E46 M3 guys are very hands-on, so makes a lot of sense. Information in the description, and thanks again. See you next time.